one GIS person's out in the field right now. But everyone else is here. We're just a quiet bunch, and there's not too many of us.
Okay, we've got to figure it out. All right, so now let's get started. Okay, so welcome. We are recording this just to have a future record, and I'll go ahead and start the agenda. Okay, so number one, welcome, introductions, roll call. I'm going to go through the roll call to say here, if you are here, please. Shelley Entrikin.
Here.
Barb Long. Doug Manick. Audra Miles. Joe Coffin. Craig Boynton. Hannah Fuchs. David Luders. Mary Patton. Shamar Robinson. Here. Tracy Dowell. J. Thomas House. Joe Roberts. Brandon Hovey. Tyler Rogers. Sean Griffin.
Here.
Don Harper. Jody Scott.
Here.
Angel Marinich. Here. There we go. Renee Razzo.
Here.
Chris Mitchell.
Here.
Don Rulis. And Greg Cassidy. Yeah, I see that you're there, yep. So we have not quite a quorum today. We'll see if anyone else trickles in. Okay, so we'll move on. Oh, I'm sorry. There are other people here as well. Let me go down my list, and then if you're not labeled, then I will open it up to anyone else. So I see, oh, Tracy Dowell just joined us here. We have Jim Bremner from Washington Township.
Yeah.
Katie Dedmond from the Western Illinois Agency on Aging. Hold on, I see a couple people just joined, so I'm updating my list. We have Marie from Ivysill. Molly Anderson. Marie.
Okay.
Oh, I see Joe Cox.
I love you can hear. Anybody talking?
Hello. You hear me? I see you, Joe. Okay, I'm gonna just mute the people who are making some noise. Sorry about that.
Like a big empty room.
I just passed.
Where is that? Oh, okay, there we go. All right, so I see Molly Anderson. Where are you from?
I'm from TCRC.
No.
Okay, well, Molly from TCRC. And
I don't hear anybody.
well, yeah, Joe, we can hear you. Let me send him a quick message. All right, is there anyone else I did not call?
Audrey Merritt.
Audrey, but that's right, I spoke with you earlier. Is there anyone else on the phone?
Who's talking? Whoever this is.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is Tracy from MSW Projects.
Okay, got you, Tracy. Okay, that, I believe that is everyone. Let me recount. Oh, we're just shy. We need one more person to join to have a quorum, but we can still move on.
That didn't do anything.
Yeah, Joe, we can hear you. This is not helping because he can't hear us.
Oh, she said we can hear you.
Oh. Maybe.
Well, you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
David Looters. Let's see here. And now we have a quorum. It's always right down to the wire. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on. I see David Looters just joined. So agenda number 2 is public comment. Does anyone have a public
You
comment?
just hang it down here and see it when they start talking. If you figure something out. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Sorry, we'll figure out the technical issues here. All right, so we're moving on to agenda item 3, approval of minutes. We did not have a quorum last time, so we're gonna go for 2 from the August 3rd meeting and the October 5th. I included those in the packet. Does anyone have any comments about either of those minutes? All right. All right, so in that case, can I have a motion to approve both the August 3rd and October 5th minutes?
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second.
I heard Shelley and I think that was Jody.
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That has passed. All right, thank you for approving those minutes.
That's for August and October.
That's for both, yeah. Okay, moving right along. So next one is provider and agency updates. I'm gonna go down my list just for ease of managing everyone, and then we will add the rest of you if you want to include an update. So for anyone who's new, this is just give a short update about what your organization is doing, if there's anything new on your end. So I'm gonna actually start from the bottom. So let's start with Greg Cassidy at TCRC.
Yeah, no significant updates at this time. Everything seems to be going. We do have Molly joining us from TCRC, and she's since we merged with WeCare, she's in charge of all the grants and everything that the two companies do. So she'll be learning about.
All right, sounds good. Welcome, Molly. All right, so I'm gonna move up my list to Chris Mitchell. Do you have any updates, Chris?
I've been using City Lift occasionally, and it's gone well. No other updates at this time.
Sounds good, thank you. Moving up to Renee Razzo for the Central Illinois Agency on Aging.
We're just going along as usual. Nothing new happening right now, except for trying to pack some home delivery, some shelf-stable meals, but that's about it right now.
Okay. All right, so now we're at Angel Marinich for TransDev, City Lift, and County Link. Do you have anything, Angel?
Just a couple of little things. I know last time we talked a lot about recruiting and hiring and the inability to do both in some cases. We're starting to have some success, I'm really happy to say. We've hired 7 new drivers since December, and 6 of them are on the road. We'll have the next one on the road by Monday. So that has helped tremendously with our on-time performance and just providing better service. Still not where I want to be, and so we're still working on more recruiting to get up. I want probably another 5 people to feel okay. But the big thing that's coming down for us is starting this week, we will be installing Mobileye. I'm not sure if who may be familiar with it, that it's a system that is beyond the windshield of the vehicles. It helps the drivers be more alert and aware of their surroundings. It detects pedestrians, can detect inappropriate lane changes, following distance, all kinds of really cool things. So that is being installed over the next 2 weeks into all the vehicles, and this is at Transdev's cost, not CityLink. So it's just something that we wanted to deploy to all of our locations across the country. And the drivers will be trained on it here in the coming weeks, and it should be fully operational probably within the next 3 weeks.
Oh, nice. That's good to hear.
And we're pretty excited.
Nice. Okay, so now we have Jody Scott for Advocates for Access.
We don't have any significant updates. I did receive my first call today, though, regarding the new routes for CityLink that's starting on March 6th, and was able to, the customer felt a lot better after talking to me. She was told one of the routes was being eliminated, and then I was able to look up on the CityLink site and give her the proper information.
Can I just jump in one more time? Thank you for reminding me of that, Jody. One significant piece of this that will affect CityLift is East Peoria on Sundays. We've never gone to East Peoria on Sundays before, so starting March 6th, we'll be able to provide that service as well.
Oh, that's good. Expand in some way. Okay. Jody, did you have anything else, or you're done?
I am done.
Okay. Moving on, I thought I saw Dawn Harper join. So she's with Epic. Do you have anything?
No, not at this time. Just, I did get to hire a driver, so now I am fully staffed with my driving. Angel, I have a question for you. Is the East Peoria Sunday route, is that permanent, or is that just going to be a month-to-month basis?
Oh no, CityLink is going to be servicing East Peoria on Sundays now, therefore we can do so as well. So this is permanent.
Wow, that's good news.
Yeah.
One on my list here is Sean Griffin from Lead Care.
Only new update I really have is that we did recently hire another driver, so that will help us with our ridership.
There's a lot of hiring is happening, which is wonderful. All right, so next one I have is Tracy Dowell with MSW Projects.
Right now, we don't really have any significant changes with anything.
Okay, that's fine. How about Shamra, bumping out to in the room today? Do you have anything?
Just completed a series of reporting with triennial and quarterly reports for Paratransit and fixed route service. Added a fillable application to Paratransit, which is available on our website. Previously, we did have a way that you can use the application for Paratransit, but it was just a PDF that you would have to print out. So now you are able to fill out your application online. So we do have both options. We are getting ready for the COA, which is the Comprehensive Operational Analysis, which would involve the route changes, and that will start March 6th. It will be all hands on deck at the transit center so that we can help as many riders and customers that come down there during that week. And we are also looking at providing service at no cost during that week, because it's already going to be, kind of confusing for a lot of people coming down there. So we didn't want to add that one extra layer of worrying about how much you have to pay. And then working with Jim Bremer from Washington Township, still on the 5310 project with Paratransit. We do have a flyer that Angel and I have been working on. However, we're just waiting on Washington to let us know how they want their Paratransit service operated in Washington. And that completes my report.
All right, thank you. Okay, so the next one I have is David Luters from the Marshall County Board. You have anything to add, David?
No, I don't have any updates at this time.
Sounds good. Moving on to Craig Boynton with the City of Galesburg. Would you like to share anything? I see that you're on, but it doesn't show that you're talking, although it does look like you're unmuted. If you want, you can add something in the chat and I can say it later. Because I don't think, yeah, we can't hear anything from you, Craig. Oh, welcome, Mary. I see you've joined.
Oh, I did not look at my current email, so I was using the old one for 20 minutes. I've been trying to get on.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
For our meeting link, it's been the same for so long, and I guess GoToMeeting just kicked us out today, so I had to make a whole new one.
Okay, I'm on. Thanks.
All right, so I'm actually, I'll put you on the spot if you don't mind, Mary. Do you have any updates? We're just at the provider and agency updates now.
No. No, I
Okay.
don't. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so next one I have is Joe Kaufman. Are you able to hear us, Joe? I know you were having some issues there with your audio. Do you have anything you want to share? I know this is your first time, so update from nothing, but just share about yourself or your organization.
Yeah, my name is Joe Kaufman. I've been with KCCDD for 11 years. The last 3 of which I've been the manager of vehicle operations. We're struggling to get enough help. I'm supposed to have 5 drivers. Right now I've only got 1 full-time and 1 part-time guy. So that's been a challenge, but and like you said, this is my first time, so I'll mostly probably just be listening and soaking it in, figure out what this is all about.
No worries. Welcome. We're glad to have you. All right. So last one I have here is Shelley Entrican. Anything new with FCRC or FCRT?
Not really anything to report. We did hire a driver for FCRT, so that helped quite a bit. And as far as the other side of it, it's, in isolation, out of isolation, with the people coming in. So, just got to deal with it.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. All right, thank you. It looks like we've got a message here from Craig Boynton from Galesburg. He says, we've been able to promote 2 PTs to an FT on our fixed route system. We're looking for an additional PT for fixed route and paratransit. We're excited to be working on an RFP for dispatch software so that we can move away from an access database we are currently using. All right, thank you, Craig. I hope we've been, today has been the day for technical issues. So luckily we've been able to solve them so far. All right, so I've got some other people as well on my list. Let's see, how about, I'll just go down my list. Katie Dedman, do you have anything you want to share from the Western Illinois Agency on Aging?
Nope, we don't have any updates.
All right, how about Marie Argubright from Ivysill?
Hi, this is Marie. This is my first time as well joining the meeting. Just a little bit about me. I've been here for 2 years. I am the resource coordinator, so I manage the ITAC, which is the amplified phones and the equipment loans. Ivysill is open by appointment only, and all of our programs are up and running.
All right, could you quickly explain what Ivysill is for people who don't know?
It's the Illinois Valley Center for Independent Living, and we our service area is Bureau, LaSalle, Putnam, Marshall, and Stark counties.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Who else is on the line? I remember we had Audrey Barrett. Did you have anything for Snyder Village? I can't hear you if you're talking. She might be muted. She said she was driving. Is there anyone else? I'll open up the floor.
This is Craig. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Perfect.
There's a toggle for the microphones, and I think there's there were at least 2 options for me, so I fixed it.
Nice. All right. Was there anything else, Craig, you want to add?
No.
Excellent.
Rima?
Yes.
This Audrey.
Go ahead if you have something.
Yes, I did. We are still having problems with our new bus that we got on the grant, and it's with the lift. They still have not found the situation. It's an intermittent problem with the lift not working. It did finally happen to the Braun dealership, and then when he went to go fix it, it was working again. So we also, when I had the field guy come out, they charge us for them to come out, even though it's under warranty. So I said, well, but you guys haven't fixed it yet. So anyway, I just wanted to give an update that it's still not working and still having a problem.
Oh boy, that's no fun.
No, we had it. We got it in January of last year. It has started in May, and we've had nothing but problems since.
Ooh. Wow. Well, that's too bad. I hope something can be done there. Okay.
Oh, I do too. I just wanted to let you know.
All right. Okay, so I'll give one last call, and then we'll move on to the next part of this. Is there anyone else who wants to mention anything? All right, I will call it there. So we'll move on to agenda item number 5. I did put together a PowerPoint presentation. So I saw that we have some new people, and we've been gaining new people kind of periodically for the past, I don't know, year, several months. So I decided to put together just an Hstp 101 presentation. There we go. So for those of you who could see the screen, I do have a PowerPoint, but even if you cannot, I'll just describe it anyway. So hopefully this will explain a little bit about what Hstp even is, the funding structures, things like that. So Hstp, simply, we are federally required to exist. We are the Human Service Transportation Plan Committee, and there are several federal bills that basically required a locally coordinated public human service transportation plan with a combination of stakeholders. And by the way, I'm going to kind of skim through this. If I will send this out to everyone just for a resource, but I won't be reading everything here. So our main goals here are to identify the transportation needs of individuals with disabilities, older adults, veterans, people with low incomes. The list is that those are the named individuals, but it's really the public after that. So specialize on people who might need it more, but also anything that can also help the public is good. So the specific areas of that are to prioritize and manage funding. That is always a sticking point there is the funding, and understand the strategies to address that, and just simply provide a space to collaborate. So that's what this meeting is. That could be other areas that spin off of this, but those are the main hopes for Hstp, and these are the different regions. So again, this might be a little small on your screen. Don't worry about reading everything. And actually, some of the people here listed as the regional coordinators have moved on to different positions, so there are new names here. However, there are 11 Hstp regions across the state of Illinois. There are 7 coordinators. I'm kind of lucky I only get 1 region, but some coordinators get 2 or 3, and that's just how it's worked for the past X number of years. So we are in Region 5, right in the middle of the state. We have 7 counties within our region: Peoria, Tazewell, Woodford, Fulton, Knox, Stark, and Marshall. So my organization is Tri-County Regional Planning Commission, and we usually just oversee Peoria, Woodford, Tazewell, but for this process, we open it up to these other 4 counties. So now I will dive into the transportation services and needs within our region. So we have 3 major types of transit service. The first kind is just a public fixed route bus service. So this exists in 2 places in our region. This is CityLink, so within the Greater Peoria Regional Transit District, and Galesburg has their own fixed route service. And next we have demand response paratransit service. So this is only for ADA, so people with disabilities, seniors who need some extra help getting around, specifically like ramps and lifts. And so these are City Lift and Galesburg. So these exist in Peoria and Galesburg. And finally, we have our public demand response service. These are the rural entities. So County Link owns Peoria, We Care is Tazewell and Woodford, FCRT, Fulton County, and MSW projects are Marshall and Stark. So I try to find a picture of each of these on here just to give you an idea. So our major needs in the area, the first one I want to highlight is to improve accessibility. So this could mean many different things, really. Accessibility, top left picture, you can see a bench in the middle of some grass next to a really large road. So somebody who rides a wheelchair or uses a wheelchair would probably not use that. So that's an accessibility issue. Underneath that picture, there's a picture of a lift going into a transit vehicle. So that would be accessibility into a vehicle. And finally, we have on the side, these are just sidewalks that are not in good condition. So people cannot walk to or make their way to a bus stop if they can't use a good sidewalk or it's just not safe. All right, so our second transportation needs we've highlighted here is just to expand or implement transportation service when no service exists. So I've chosen to highlight the gray area. This one happens to only be in the Peoria urbanized area, but this instance of having gray areas, quote unquote, occurs more than just in Peoria. This is just the one that Tri-County is closest to. So if you can see on the screen, the green and the yellow areas show the where there are bus services. So that's in Peoria and some of the surrounding communities, but there are gray areas in between that just don't have that service. So that's something that could potentially expand, or just conversations can be had about how to have that service. All right, so now I'm going to dig deep into our committee and stakeholder spotlight. And I'm going to start with some definitions because sometimes with Hscp and probably a lot of projects you work on, they get heavy with the acronyms and just specific words that are only used in that scenario. So we have agency, and this is simply an organization that offers transit to its participants. Usually this includes human service agencies as well. Providers are specific to transit, so they provide specifically transit options. An operator can be the same as a provider. Sometimes it's different depending on if a different organization has taken over the actual operating capacity of the organization. Next, we have a Center for Independent Living. We have a couple of these on today. This is a special case. It's a nonprofit designed and operated by people with disabilities. And the other two on our list, we have county board members, as well as a PCOM, which is a program compliance oversight monitor. This is a position required to receive grant money. Okay, and I won't go through everything here, but again, I'll send you this list just for you to look at if you like. So these are all the providers in our area, just basically all the ones that I listed before under the types of transportation. They do span the entire area and all the counties. So our next list are the agencies. So these are usually human service agencies, and you can see the population that they serve. So primarily people with disabilities, seniors, and these span several counties, so far beyond our Hscp region. And now we have some others that like to join us sometimes for meetings or are tuned in, and some of these are on our committees. So we have some Centers for Independent Living, advocacy organization, we have AARP, assisted living facilities, a dialysis center, and other stakeholders from the city and the county. And this is not a conclusive list. I recognize there are new people joining us that I maybe did not mention, but it's always good to have more representation. All right, so now we're moving on to funding structures. This one is probably, it can get the most complicated. So I tried to make it as straightforward as I could here. And I'm just briefly gonna go through these. This is not extensive by any means. So this chart, if you can see it, it shows that there are urban funds and rural funds, just to cover all the bases, basically. And I'm going to go briefly into every one of these, just so you can understand what the words even mean. So we have our Hscp. This is the funding originates from the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, and then it flows into the state, specifically the Illinois Department of Transportation Office of Intermodal Project Implementation. So that's I.OIPI. And through them, Tri-County and all the other Hscp coordinators have a contract, and it basically pays for my job position, and I help coordinate these meetings and other things around the region. And we have section 5310. This one gets a little bit confusing, and you don't have to know all the details. This is just for people who are interested in exactly where the money flow is. So section 5310 originates also from the FTA. The goal is to enhance mobility for seniors and people with disabilities. Tri-County is a little bit special because we receive direct apportionments of funding from the FTA. And that's because Peoria, the urbanized area, has over 200,000 people in population. So, and across the country, that's the case. So these mid to large size urban areas receive a direct apportionment of funds, and the state also receives a direct apportionment. For Tri-County, we can help give this money away. We actually can, when I say money, it's actual funding, but the state can help with the vehicles. So that's the difference in the stream. So us, the regional, I should say the urban funds, those are funds, but the statewide program is the vehicles. So that is a very short explanation of 5310. 5307 is for urban providers only. That I've highlighted here. Again, the funds originate from the FTA, and then they are transmitted to different tiers of population cities. So we are in the 200,000 to 1 million category. City of Peoria is. So CityLink and Greater Peoria Mass Transit District receive that because they fall into the urban category. All right, so 5311 is similar. It's for rural transit providers only. Again, this is from the FTA moving through IDOT, and then IDOT is able to give this money on to its rural subrecipients. And I believe this is the last one on my list. So DOAP, DOPE, it's the Downstate Operating Assistance Program. Basically, these are funds that everywhere but Chicago receives. And they originate from the state, I.OIPI, and subrecipients, both urban and rural, can apply for this funds. So this is just very quick. There's a lot more detail in these, and if you guys want, I can always go into more detail, not today, but in future meetings. I will leave it at that. And I can answer some questions. I'm not an expert on all the funding structures, but does anyone have any brief questions?
I think it was very well done. At one point, while you're on the committee, especially if you've been on since its inception, you remember all these things. But as time goes by, you just use terminology and some things escape you. So it was very good review for me, at least.
Great, I'm so glad. Honestly, for me, it was a little difficult to learn. So this was, half of this was for me and half of this was for the group. Okay, any other questions or comments you want to talk about?
Is this the first time that you compile this information like this?
Yeah, ever since I have led these meetings, this is the first time I've done kind of an Hstp 101. Really, I should have done it earlier, but better late than never.
Good job.
All right. Okay, well, in that case, I will send this presentation, like I said, so feel free to go through it at your leisure. But I think then we will move on to the next agenda item. Okay. Let me sharing for a little bit. Okay, so now I've got my Hscp coordinator report. I do have 3 major things here on my list. One of them, for those who are who receive DILP or 5311 funds, we just learned what those are. But for those of you who receive those, you know who you are, and maybe you also received this email, but I received an email from the state, from Mackenzie Thiessen, and he mentioned that those 2 application periods are now open. I'm not going to give too much detail on that. If for some reason you fall into the DOPE and 5311 category and you're aware of that, and you didn't receive this email from Mackenzie at IDOT, just let me know and I can put it on. But I just wanted to talk about it here briefly, that this application period is now open for funds. All right, so I'm just going to keep it at that for now. Let me know if you want more information outside of the call. So the next topic here is 5310, which again, now you fully know the funding structure of that. So I have updates on what we've done last time. So in the past, for those of you who are new, and honestly as a refresher, because we haven't met since October, we held a call for projects for our $5310. Again, these only apply to the Peoria area, since that's how the money is structured, the urban area, I should say. And last time the Hstp Urban Subcommittee met, and we decided on 3 projects. So it's the Washington Paratransit Expansion Project, the East Peoria Sidewalk Improvement Project, and the Peoria Bike Share. 2 of those we are moving forward with, but the bike share actually was not able to be funded. The local cost share was not, couldn't figure it out on our end here. That was just based on various issues with the planning aspect of it. So unfortunately that one is out. However, that leaves us with some money that we need to, basically we have to obligate these funds before September of this year, which seems like a long way away, but because these applications take so long and so many steps, it's actually sooner than we think. So we had 2 options. We can either give, so it's $13,830. We can either give these funds to the state. They could put it in their CVP program, or we can keep them here so we can delegate them as money instead of vehicles. We decided to keep it local. We weighed our options here a lot. This wasn't an immediate selection, but we decided to give it to a Peoria project, City of Peoria. In 2018, there was a 5310 application for them to provide safety and pedestrian crossing access to one specific area, and basically that intersection through the NEPA process. And long story short, it didn't happen. But able to change the scope to a different intersection in Plano Park, and so we were able to put those funds in there. That does require a cost share element, so they are putting more funds on top of that. So that's a very just in a brief nutshell over there. We are in the process very soon of applying for those funds on behalf of the other two projects. So that's the Washington Paratransit Expansion East Peoria Sidewalk Improvement. So we're still working on that. I hope to have a more finalized report next time, but that's where we are now with the urban 5310 funds. Does anyone have questions about that? I know I didn't give the whole picture there, just the updates. All right. Okay, we'll move on to, so this is actually my last major item here, and this is the Hscp plan update. So every 5 years, Tri-County has to create a human service transportation plan document. And I shouldn't say Tri-County, it's Tri-County plus the assistance and collaboration of this committee. So the last time we did this was actually 2016. It's been a little longer than we hoped, but the reason for that is that we had to go through the state, through IDOT, and they told us actually hold off on it until we provide you with more normalized elements to put in the plan. So basically the state updated the requirements of what every single region has to include in their plan. So that meant we put it off for about a year or so, but now we have the okay to move along. And so we're gonna do that. And step one is actually to distribute surveys. I'm gonna share my screen one more time. Don't need this anymore. So there are 4 surveys. I'll go through each one just very briefly. Let's see. Okay, so as you can see, there is an agency survey. These I am going to, after this call, sometime this week or next, probably this week, I will email you if you are an agency. So as you can see, we've got human service agencies. This list includes elected officials, churches, and others. Essentially, this just asks things like the type of service your organization provides. So it's, excuse me, it would be an agency that either provides transit options or subsidizes fares, or even something else that's not listed here. And it's just things like, indicate how the service can be improved, how many vehicles you operate, talk about unmet transportation needs, and it's 2 pages. Actually, all of these surveys are just 2 pages, no longer. And this one would be an agency representative who fill that out, and I will send it to you if you are an agency representative. And the next one I'll highlight is the transportation providers. Again, I will get these to you if you fall into that category. No, that's right. That is. Well, this is coming up on my screen, so we'll start with this one. Rider survey. So this is you, as a transit agency, you would distribute these to your riders. So the timeline on these, I am planning on requesting these to be completed by the end of March, which is kind of a long way away, but we did that because we recognize that it's not straightforward to just give these out to riders. Maybe it is for some organizations, but there's logistics that are involved with the distribution of these. And actually, in our office, we're going to work on digitizing this, so it's not just a Word document. It's actually going to be a link that you can click. We're going to hopefully have a QR code, so people, whether they're in the bus or just on their commute, they will be able to take a picture and maybe access this later. And I'll go over the two more here. But the themes here are all very much the same. So things like, what do you do now? How can it be better? What do people like about it? Things like that. But I just want to show you visually if my computer cooperates. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but I will send this to you if you fall into these categories. And finally, the last one, all right, this provider one is not coming on. The last one is for the community, and so this one might be the most maybe the trickiest one to distribute because these are non-riders. It doesn't specify non-riders, actually. This is really for everyone, but we do want to include people who don't use transportation. So again, this one asks things like, do you have access to a car? How do you use it? How many, do you use public transportation? Things like, if not, why? Would you use it if it's more convenient? Things like that. So we will take all of these and analyze all the results and put them in our plan document. And then we can have a better picture of transit in the region. So that is my screen share is causing me trouble. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a visual about what those surveys are and how we'll incorporate them. Again, I will get back to everyone about those topics, especially if you fall into the agency and provider categories. And also if you know how to distribute these surveys, then and you have further ideas, then please let me know. All right, the last thing within this update I have is we are hoping to do public outreach with this plan, and probably in the summer. It's easiest because you can do outdoor events. And I wanted to ask, so this plan, it is supposed to have a focus on the rural elements. So if we hold public events, where should we hold them? And we could do something like have a table at an existing festival or a community event. So if you have ideas now, or you can always email me, but do you have thoughts about where we could hold events? Maybe one or two, we could consider more, but anything more than that gets a little bit of a heavy lift on our end, unless we get help from your agencies.
Rima, how much money have you budgeted for those? Is there a line item?
This is just all, I don't know the budget for that off the top of my head, but all this is part of basically the Hscp budget that we get from the state.
Okay.
So this is part of basically my job function. That's within that budget. We'll just keep thinking about potential locations. I know that just off the top of my head, there's county fairs and things, maybe we could, I would have to look into it to get in there. We would just have a table for part of the time, maybe. But if you know of anything else that we could ask people, at that time we would have some draft goals and objectives, so maybe we could ask them, you know, how do these look to you? Do these represent your experience with transit? Are there any gaps? Things like that. And this is just the very first discussion we have about this, so I know that you could just keep it in the back of your mind until next time. Okay. So I gave you a whole bunch of information there over a variety of topics. I know today I was very REMA heavy today, but we do, if you, just a reminder, if anyone else wants to present something for the group that you think the group would like, just let me know. I'm always willing to hear. And we are getting close to the end. Does anyone have any final comments about anything I mentioned in the report? All right. In that case, we'll move on to agenda item 7, which is other. I have no other. Does anyone else have other?
I have another.
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
I just wanted to make an announcement, if you have not heard, that as of the January board meeting of the commissioners, that we have promoted, and it's been improved that REMA be promoted from a planner 2 to planner 3. And I think that how she's handled the Hstp planning group and coordinating, I hopefully you'll all agree with us that she has earned this promotion, and we think she's done a great job with the transition, and she's also handling a number of other issues for the commission and done a great job doing those. So I just want to make you all aware of well-deserved promotion that REMA has received as of the 1st of January. So congratulations, REMA.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yay.
All right. Okay.
And Michael's on there too, and so Michael has also been promoted to from planner 2 to planner 3. So they are both to be congratulated for those promotions. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Ray. I was also going to add here, Rima, about the passenger rail, and I don't know, Rima, if we can send out a link about that, but if you all aren't aware, Mayor Ali and a bunch of stakeholders in the Peoria area have got together and is working with IDOT in doing a feasibility study for having Amtrak service come through the Peoria area, and there is currently a survey out. So if you all haven't taken the survey and are interested in doing so, I would encourage you all to do that, and we will send an email with the link to that survey. But yeah.
That's a good point. I forgot to mention that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've got some follow-up to you all via email, but I think that's just
Rima, this is Jody, just to kind of with the rail study. I know Marie's on the line as well in the meeting from Ivy Sill, and one of the stops being proposed is LaSalle, Peru as well on that rail study.
Yes, and we have Eric Miller is executive director in our office. He's been working with that whole group. He's been in contact with the North Central Council of Governments in that area as well. So you're right. That's another great stop along the way. All right. In that case, right up to the minute, I've got 12:58. I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thanks everyone so much for being attentive and managing all the technical issues. We appreciate it. All right, well, have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're still tomorrow. Yeah, I was trying to get in as well. Was it an old address or something, or?
For some reason, the link, like,
Okay,
Go to
I was wondering,
the-
I always think that it's something I'm doing. They're technically challenged sometimes. So I was glad to see the lights were on in here.